Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing this fine Saturday evening? I pray that your day has been amazing. Mine has. Let's get on in here and pray. If you're hearing the noise, it's because they're having a little shindig outside. Okay. Thank you, God, for being Jehovah Nissi, the God of the banner. You place a hedge of protection in front of me, behind me, and on top of me. You keep me safe by any means necessary. Psalms 91, you place me underneath your mighty wing, and nothing shall by any means harm me. No evil will befall me, neither will any plague come nigh my dwelling. 1,000 may fall at my left hand side, and 10,000 at my right, but it shall not come near me. No weapon formed against me will prosper. It will form, but I have the breakthrough formula from Jesus, stove, and a Rumelot. Why all three? Because God said, if you want to come to the table and have a sit down and ask some questions, God said, come on. Because he never put rules and regulations of who could come. Okay. And I walk in, and instead of fussing about what it looks like, just saying, God said, come on and have a seat. We've been waiting for you to come and sit down for a long time. God don't have rules. It's man that have rules. Only thing God say is, love yourself, love your neighbor, and love God. That's it. That's the only rule. Jehovah Shalom, the God of peace, the peace that passes all understanding. Philippians 4. Think on these things of a good report. And if I keep my mind stayed on you, you'll keep me in perfect peace. It don't make sense, but it makes faith. Because see, let me tell you something about perfect peace. All hell will be going on. And you just like, it's okay. It don't make sense, but it makes faith. Because what I have faith in, I believe. And what I believe, I'm going to act on. And what I act on, I'm going to see happen in the spirit realm before it happens over here. Okay. What do you believe? Because you'll start doing it. Jehovah Sabaoth, the God of hosts. You're here, you're there, you're everywhere. You are me, and I am you. God placed a small awe spark in my heart before I even got here. Like the Transformers. Remember the Transformers when they said awe spark? That's where they got it from. Okay, let's talk about it. Okay, so God told Jeremiah in chapters 1 and 2, he said, I knew thee before you enter your mother's womb. And if God is saying it to one person, he'll say it to everybody else. It's just, are you willing to do the work to get what you see somebody else getting? You ain't got to take from, just pay attention to what they doing and say less. Got it. God is not an aspect of love. God is love. But God places an aspect of himself in everybody's heart. It's small like the Grinch. You know what I'm saying? Small heart like the Grinch. But it is up to us how we see it in our lives. Ephesians 3:20 says God will do exceedingly abundantly above all we could ask or think, according to how the gift works in us. Same way with love. According to how we use it, you can see it a foot, 3 feet, 20 feet, 100 feet, 1,000 feet, even bigger than that. It could be the radius of a whole city or of a whole country. It's how you to choose to work it. And there's no rules how big it can get. It's just up to you how you choose to spread it. Because it's going to hit one person and hit another person. That person hit another person. That's how it works. And it just keeps going. It's like a domino effect. Jehovah Elohim, the God of gods. We made all this stuff to put between us and God. And God said he don't have no problem with none of that. The issue that God has with us is that we would go to a man that looked like us instead of coming to him or her. Because remember, God is divine masculine and divine feminine. So if you say God is a him, you're right. If you say God is a her, you're right. Because we're made in God's image, and we get the opportunity to mix our divine masculine and divine feminine together. And then we end up going into the shadow, doing our work, and then we come out as a new vessel. So God, we're made in God's image. So God is a divine feminine and divine masculine. All day, every day. So there's no need to argue. All right. So the only thing God is saying is he wants to have a relationship with us. So one-on-one, just talk. How you talk to your friends? Go talk to God. Because let me tell you something. When the test starts, all your friends going to run away. Because they going to scared it's going to rub off on them. It's all good, though, because you get to know who you really are. And once you know who you are, you know who God is. And once you know who God is, you can run, honey. Jehovah El Shaddai, the Most High God, your name is higher than any name that is on this earth or the universe. If it can be congregated in a sentence and a punctuation put it in that sentence, God is higher than that. And then if I try to think about something, And I try to tell you, it's going to be in a sentence or a paragraph which has punctuation. So guess what? God is hiding that. Even if I sign language, it's still a sentence. Jehovah Jireh, my provider, there is no lack. There's only provision. It just may not be what we think it is. You're more than enough and you supply all I need. It may not look like the way I thought it was going to look. It could be spiritual first. I'm worthy because I exist, and I exist because I'm worthy. I came out of a womb of a woman. I'm worthy. There's nothing that God will ever withhold from me. God is my source and not the things on the outside of me. See, God will use people on this earth to bless me. See, wealth comes from the north, as above, so below, not from the east, west, and the south. It will always be supplied supernaturally if I believe it. It's based on my frequency and my energy, which is key. If God is here and I'm over here, God said, come to me as you are. That means I get up and I change my perspective every time I come to God. We do that every time we go to somebody. Make sure it's worth your perspective change. Jehovah Rapha, my healer. You heal my mind, my soul, my body, my spirit. You heal so much of me. Today, God, I watched this video, right? And I try to do this stretch. I'm going to tell you about it in a little bit. But man, I actually did it and it worked. It popped a lot of stuff. I was like, oh my God, that feels so good. Jehovah Gamola, the God of the recompense. Ain't no getting even with people. Ain't no arguing with them. They know what they did. You know what they did. Why even fuss? Just send all that negative energy to the Creator and ask the Creator to cleanse and purify it and send it back to you so you can send it back to the center. Cleanse and purify. No blocking their path, no stopping their path. No matter what the person did, it don't matter. Why? We have cause and effect, sowing and reaping, and corresponding action, which means every seed goes in the ground, turns into a tree. Whether it comes up good or bad is how you planted it. I live under the law of assumption that it's already worked out and I don't have to stress about it. Everything doesn't require my response or my fight. I choose my battles properly and I leave it in his hands. No stress, no fussing, and no stressing me out. And so it will be, and so it be, and forevermore. Child, let me tell you something. Sometimes it's just not even worth it to fuss with people. They want you to, because that's how they take your energy. You give people your energy every time you fuss with them. Freely. That's why they do stuff, dumb stuff to get you to fuss and argue. Look at the description below to see a few items just for you. My books incorporate the essence of God. If you want to feel the presence of God, read In the Garden with the Father, Understanding True Intimacy. No matter what your background. Let's read a piece. Page 99, it says strength. You're stronger than you think. I've placed nations inside of you. Don't be afraid to speak up and do what I have told you. It's time to step into what I've called you to do. Come on here now, God. And then this is just me and God having our own special time together. I published this in 2021. Yeah, 2021, right after the pandemic. God is so good. Let's talk about it. And I have two other books, Befriending the Shadow, Unshakable Peace, Unstoppable Change. Both of those are my shadow activity books. Let's break it down. You get a word of knowledge. Then you get an exercise, okay, to show you different parts of yourself. It's kind of fun because it's like looking deeper in yourself, but it's like a fun way. And then you get a shadow question. That's not so fun. It kind of hurts. It's like, ouch. You know what I'm saying? It causes you to look at yourself differently than you ever would. Okay. And then, and that caused me a lot of tears. Then number 4, fun. It's a coloring page, but God asked me to keep it between the age of 5 and 10. Why? Because of this particular reason. Between the ages of 5 and 10, that's when most childhood wounding happens. No matter how good you say your family was, that's when wounding happens, okay? By the age of 7 is when it's solidified. By the age of 10, if nobody assisted, it's really in your system. By the age of 20 to 25, now it belongs to you. It's no longer you can blame anybody in your lineage. Now it is on you to find a way to fix it. I know it's unfair. Unfortunately, that's how it works, okay? And then number 5, the thing you get is you get 4 pages. It's 22 chapters per book. What you get is you get 4 pages. 4 pages to draw, doodle, all of that. You get to draw, doodle, write down your dreams, write down your visions, put down how you're feeling, all in a book. Because, see, I didn't see that anywhere. I saw all these shadow workbooks, but they was kind of blah. I was doing the work, but I was like, I need to have a little bit of fun so I can keep doing the work and not quit. Because, you sometimes you'll quit in the middle of the process because your inner child and your inner teenager need to come out. And when you find things that allow you to stay in that vein, that's what I'm talking about. And God said, well, make it. I said, say less. Don't forget about my other 2 books that are already on New York Times bestseller list, Influence and Impact with Chris Voss, and Mindset Matters with Jack Canfield. Okay. God don't need no background check. It's humans that need that. And even if they get the background check, if they don't like you, guess what? They try to close the door on you. But they can't close the door that God already left open. Okay. No matter what your background. Okay, because God don't care. God said he'll take anybody. Only thing God said he needs a willing heart. Okay. Notebooks and journals for all, coloring books that help in meditating and recalibrating your mind. See, God don't care. He don't care nothing about your religious background. God don't care. It's people who do. You'll see the link with the women's podcast with the women's leveling up that was done in May. You'll see 3 other magazines I was in, September, October, and December. I also placed my own link to my own personal bookstore. I'm excited about this venture. Why? Because I'm in charge of my own intellectual property. Even though I have a lot of stuff on Amazon, but my special journals are on mine. Okay. There are some freebies there just for you. I added a link to the 105 spiritual laws. There's only 7 in the initiate book, the Kabbalah. But when I looked in another book, it was 12. I said, wait a minute. God is not an author of confusion. So I went and did a check, and it is 105 spiritual laws. Time out. Let's call it this one disclaimer. We're no longer underneath the Mosaic law anymore, where you operate in the law. No, believe me, go read Galatians 3. Galatians 3 will break it down to you and break it down and say, if you offend in one of these laws, that means if you break one of these laws throughout the day, that means you offended it everywhere. That's 105 laws plus 613 commandments. That's a lot to remember and keep up with. Okay. So that's why when Jesus came here, okay, whether you say he was an archetype, whether you say he was human, it doesn't matter. What matters is we have 2 new paradigms on this earth, whether we like it or not. Because if we didn't have these 2 paradigms on the earth, why in 100 AD and 200 AD did they fight so hard to take some of these books out of the Bible that Jesus was in? Yeah, so we know something happened. Because if they fought that hard to keep these books out of the Bible, something truly happened. Whether you want to believe it or not, that ain't on me. I know what I believe. I believe in myself. Sounds of blackness. Okay. So he came and gave us love and grace. Love is the ability to forgive the unforgivable, to love the unlovable, but put a boundary between you and them. So once it's like, you cut me, okay, I'm done. See you later. And then you send them with cleansing and purifying energy, or you say, I release you in love, and you let them go on by their way. You cut those cords and you keep it moving, okay? Then grace is God's willingness to get involved in human affairs. And if you like me, I gave God full reign. I said, look, when I found out about it, I said, look, I'm going to give you full reign. If I get down here in a situation and I can't get out of this situation, I give you full reign to come and get me. And if I can't say help, like Peter, come and get me. He said, say less, I am, because I don't put too much in you. I said, thank you. And then you have the 10 commandments. But it's really 613 commandments. And if you want to know all of the 613, get the Torah, or you get the Kamash and the Tanakh. Those are the English versions of the Torah. You can go anywhere with Christian books or so you can get that, so you can see what is going on, so you can see the truth. It's a big difference. And when you read the Bible and you read that, when you read the Bible and you read that at the same time, you're like, wait a minute, some of these verses is missing out of the Bible. Exactly. Because if they had left that stuff inside the Bible, do you know the power that humans could have? It's what we're going through now. We are seeing who we really are, and the powers that were are having a moment. That's why everything is happening. Because if I take your mind off the Bible, if I take your mind off what God is doing, and I get your mind over here on the distraction, like a rooster does, a rooster is a distraction to get you over here. When God is trying to get your attention over here, what you gonna look at? Okay. And God told the Israelites, you cannot keep 613 laws every day for the rest of your life. They said, yes, we can. Us and our children's children. See, that's how we got involved with this. They did the same thing with Jesus and Barabbas. They said, who you want to release, Jesus or Barabbas? They said Barabbas. And the king said, I wash my hands of it. I don't have nothing to do with what you're going to do with this man. They said, that's fine. We'll put it on us and our children's children. I said, wait a minute. I didn't ask for this. So all of that, what happened in Egypt, is what we're dealing with now. That's why you fighting stuff and it seems like you in quicksand or sludge sometimes. Yeah, we fighting stuff that happened all the way back then. Yeah, that's what happens when you go up against God. So we fixing what our ancestors did, plus our own stuff, and then also helping with some of the collective, because God knew that some of the collective ain't gonna wake up. So that's on us too. You see what I'm saying? So you're covering stuff that you didn't even do, and sometimes you're trying to figure out, well, since I didn't do it, how can I do it? God's like, that's why I'm giving you wisdom and intuition along the way. Get back to it. So they said, yes, we can't us and our children to it. So that's where we get that generational baggage, that generational trauma. And then that's when you get to be the person with the authority. See, the police in every city, in every township, in every county have the authority. If you going through a suburbia or through a housing area and the speed limit 25 and you going 60, they have a right to pull you over and say, I have an authority to pull you over and hold you in contempt. We have the same right. When something is going on in your family for so long, you have the right to say, no, want another child go through this? No. Want another teenager go through this? No. Want another person in this family go through drug addicts? Well, no. Well, you get to be the person to stop it, because that's who Jesus was. He was the person that gave us the authority. But remember, in 100 AD and 200 AD, they took all that stuff out. So it was as if it didn't exist. So we are now stepping into the reins of taking the control of our own lives. So that's where we are now. So you know, again, we know everything, but we don't know anything. And that keeps us from. And how do I get this right here? This came straight from God, because God said, when you go through the kingdom, like Jesus told us, as a child, you don't hold on to certain things you already know. You learn how to let it go. And in order to go to the next level, or even to get on the next level, you get to cut off half of what you know. If you don't, you stay where you at. That's why the Pharisees and the Sadducees didn't like Jesus. We know everything, but we don't know anything. And this keeps us from attachments as we go through each level and lesson taught to me by Jesus, though an issue. You see how all them different religions came in and taught me something different? See what I'm saying? The adjective and the 400 PDF, 400 values PDF, you put them together and you change your whole Sims character to this Jacob promoter game, because I did. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter and the juicy updates for the upcoming events. Because, honey, you want to know what's going on. I was inducted into the new class of Who's Who for 2025 and Influential Women for 2025. But let's talk about something that happened in 2017 that I completely forgot about. I received one in 2017 for what I was doing with my nonprofit. I was bringing women out of women and teenage girls out of sex trafficking. Okay, I didn't have no help. I was just doing this with the money I was getting. People would sew into me, or I would just take the money. Any extra money I got, I would just put it back into the nonprofit to fund it. Okay. And then I was helping teenage girls who came out to their parents and said they were LGBTQAI, and then helping the young girls that came out and told their parents they was pregnant. They kicked them out of the house. I said, no, we in a city and in a state. And you mess around and put these kids out here, they gone, and the parents, look at my baby gone. No, you put these children out here. Okay. And I put them in places where they would be safe. Okay, but took care of them before they got there. I was helping domestic violence victims. I was helping people that had lost everything in house fires and floods. People knew I had a nonprofit, so they was giving me beds and all of this stuff. So I was using that, not even knowing nobody was noticing. Ended up getting that award. Because let me tell you something. God says this. What you do in private, I reward you in public. I didn't put all that stuff all over social media, what I was doing. Why? Because I was helping people in the community that you couldn't share that type of information. You can't put them pictures up of them women. You can't put all that stuff up, because everybody don't want that up. But I put it up. I put some stuff up on my webpage, but never none of the women, because don't nobody want their business out like that. Okay. I'm just glad that God is faithful and he's not like man, choosing and picking. And I'm grateful and thankful for everything I am. Don't forget to look at the link to receive 25% off your first order. This is the company I use with all natural remedies for my assistance during the diagnosis when I receive a diagnosis of breast cancer in 2017. I didn't take any cancer treatments. It was just completely natural from the backyard. Okay. And 100% silver shield. And I had a naturopathic doctor. And I used the stuff from Dr. Sebi. Okay, I went on a Dr. Sebi diet. And so the doctor's like, you need to do this because it's all on your left hand side and we don't do something. I said, because they were beating me up. 2020 on the clock. They was beating me, trying to beat me up and trying to get me to do it the way they want me to do. We behoove you this, and this, and this. And I said, whatever. And I said, I got this because you sitting here gaslighting me, and I'm gonna figure this out on my own. So then I said, we gonna figure this out. So then I said, I bind up every disease, every germ, every bacteria, every growth, every tumor, every parasite that's going on my body now, and I curse it to the root, and I send it back to the pit of hell. I use the blood of Jesus and the hand of God. And they said, what? And I said, and I take full responsibility. This is when God takes in, when you take responsibility where your life is right now. I said, I take full responsibility for what I did. I did this. Hand to mouth, hand to mouth, hand to mouth. I take responsibility for that. And I'm going to go ahead and move on with my life. And I'm going to do right by myself. And I'm going to take a 180-degree turn. They said, what you doing? I said, I'm putting my order in. So when I come back and I said, I don't have this no more, you know what happened. So I went home, talked to God about it. God said, okay, we good. And he said, go ahead and call that naturopathic doctor. I did. I pulled out everything that Dr. said he had on the diet. They looked at the list. I'm like, that's great for your blood type. That's great. But your blood type says you need this, 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 this. And your blood type needs some meat every now and then. Okay. And I said, okay. She said, you don't have to eat it all the time, but every now and then. So what I did was, let me break it down what I did. So after we did that, my ancestors said, go out in the backyard, get the dandelion. That should be you get dandelion root tea, but I was that roasted dandelion root tea, but I suggest you go in the backyard, get your own dandelions and do it yourself, and put it in the congealer and break it down and boil it yourself. Let me tell you why, because you eat that whole plant. Clean it up and eat that whole plant. Let me tell you why. Because they're putting sawdust in this tea, and you don't want to put sawdust in your body because sawdust is a filler. You don't want that in your body. So then after I went on and got the dandelion, got the morning glory. Do you know that morning glory? You can dry it out, and these weed smokers say I ain't never smoked weed. I never had a feeling to. You could dry it out and smoke it as weed. Honey, this it's like a hallucinogen. I'm just sharing with you. Okay, so it's better than weed. It's like weed with PCP in it. That's the best way I can explain it. And can't nobody tell you not to take it because it's in your backyard. All right, I'm just sharing with you, just so you know. It can help you have better communication with the spirit realm. Okay. And make sure you call the highest light when you step in, because if you don't, you will see everything. All right. And then I grabbed that crabgrass. I call it crabgrass because let's break it down. It's that sharp grass that grows in the backyard. It's in that little patch that's really darker than the other grass, and it's got that long stuff. But the long stuff is what I call the crabgrass. It smells like onions, and if you dig it up, it's like scallions. It's wild scallions. Our ancestors lived off that. Remember when the ancestors say they lived off the land? Well, they really did, because they were always given a slot and they had to make do with whatever they had. So they lived off the land as well. Okay. Then you got poke salad. Poke salad is living off the land as well. It's like lettuce and cilantro had a baby together. It's serrated around the edges. It's got a flavor, kind of nutty flavor, and a kind of a minty flavor. It's quite different. But I poured it on top of my spinach, underneath my jasmine rice, because the jasmine rice was hot and it wilted everything, but it was still crunchy. So it went down and did what it needed to do and get into my blood. Yes, honey. And then I was eating the squash, the zucchini, because both of those are cancer fighting agents. Squash, zucchini, red onions is cancer fighting agents. The darker the vegetable, the darker the fruit, the higher it is in carcinogen fighters. Okay, just so you know. Don't believe me? Go get the Dr. Sebi list and look at that, child. Um, and then what is that? The bell peppers, red, yellow, orange. They taste so good you can eat them raw, honey. And child, guess what? I'm cancer free. Sure is, and been that way for a long time. It was 2017. Child, it's 2025. How's your fuss to get on the bus? Say it won't be so. God will do what you believe. Remember, it's going back to what we started in the beginning. What do you believe? How you believe it? Psalms 91, 1 through 6 NLT. Those that live in the shelter of the Most High will find rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Even the shadow of God is amazing. This I declare of the Lord. He alone is my refuge and is my place of safety and is. And I trust him and do. For he will rescue me from every trap and protect me from every deadly disease and did all day and every day. And the only thing you got to do is say, Father God, I thank you for covering me. And I send everything back cleansed and purified to whoever seen it. And I forgive myself and I forgive them because I didn't know, God. I didn't know. See, if you don't know, see, we're gonna get to that in a minute. He will cover me with his mighty feathers. He will shelter me with his mighty wings. He is faithful to his promises. Let me tell you something about God's promises. They are yes and amen every day of the week. See, let me tell you something. God will say, what do you want, daughter? I'll be like, well, I had a lot of opulence. I want everything. I want the diamonds. I want the pearls. I want the sapphire. And God said, I'm going to give you all of that. Everything that was on that ephod that was back in the Old Testament that the preachers say don't use, because if you use it, it's protection. That's why I had the priest to use it. Okay. And then if you every day do something small, don't matter how big it is, some small, some small. It could be changing your mindset. It could be resetting your house. It could be resetting your energy. Some small. I got you. I said, say less. Every time I say less, I be looking at God like this. My armor and my protection. I'm not afraid of the terrors of the night or night terrors nor the bullets that fly at day. I don't dread a disease that stalks in darkness. Why? Because David told us in Psalm 23, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, my rod and staff. What? My spine is shoulder to shoulder. Jesus said, carry your cross with you daily. Little we know, nobody ever told us in the church that our spine and shoulder to shoulder was our cross. Hush your fuss and get on the bus. And then it says, and surely my cup runneth over. That's infinite wealth. That's infinite. Do you hear me? Infinite overflow, infinite wisdom, infinite wealth in the natural, infinite wealth in intuition, just infinite. You never run out because your spirit team is on you like white on rice. Okay. And it said, and surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And it goes to Isaiah 53, and it says, God will send the angels to go before me to set a sun and to make the crooked places straight. That's when God send the angels to go in front of you with that spiritual machete, cutting stuff down, setting everything in order. And then it says, and God is my rear guide, meaning God is coming up on my six, making sure nobody sneak up behind me, because God said, I got you, keep going. And then that's why it says, come on back to Psalm 23. My goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, because God is my six, making sure don't nothing roll up on me. And it do, he's like, okay, taking them out. And then on top of that, let's take it there. And it says, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Hello, house of the Lord. You are the house of God. God lives in your heart. He's looking through your eyes and always looking for ways to make you prosperous if you listen. Deuteronomy 8:18, it says, God will give me the ability to get the wealth. Go read it for yourself and see what it says. Nor the disaster that strikes at midday. God ain't never trying to keep nothing from us. It's the system and those that's working with the system who we say we trust, and then they play us. They play us like we silly. They play us like we silly villains out here in the street. Okay. Hand over heart to say your affirmation or however you choose. I am not society's script. I am my own definition. I am not of this system, but a flame from God, source of divine. I don't stress about what I can't physically fix. I let go of that. I let go of that attachment. I monitor use of my own energy. What I can fix, I can fix. What I cannot fix, I cannot fix. Why am I stressing about it? Okay. Get it on to God. Woo! If you see these things happening in your life, pay close attention. If you get in someone's vehicle and it's super nice on the outside, however, as soon as you step on the inside, things are broken and everything, stay focused or even get out. If you visit someone's house for the first time and their house looks immaculate on the outside, however, you step over the threshold, okay, you know that threshold between the door and inside their house, okay, the place where they pick up the bride and carry her across the threshold, now you know what I'm talking about. There's splintered wood and things are broken, pay attention or just leave. I'm trying to tell you something. Something is up. But if you here, stay here. You're on a mission. Remember that. If you here, stay here, you're on a mission. But the minute you hear, get your butt up and go, honey. I mean, you grab everything you got and you run, Forrest, run. Keep your eyes open and stay fully present in the moment. There's something there to learn, and you're there for something. If you pretend you don't see it, things could get seriously jacked up. Just listen to your intuition. Don't overlook anything that you're seeing in the natural. No matter what people are saying about the situation, they can be like, oh, I got some work going on. I got a handyman here. Pay attention to everything you see. If anything looks immaculate on the outside, and when you get on the inside, it look toe up, God is trying to tell you something. God is trying to tell you they wearing a mask. They toe up from the flow up on the inside. That's why I say run, Forrest, run. But if your intuition say stay, you on a mission. You on a mission, and God is trying to get something there to them. But the minute you hear leave, leave, because that means God has left the room, and that means Ichabod is on the place. And you don't want to be there after Ichabod is written, okay? You don't have to bring it to their attention, because they already know they live there. Just play close attention. But don't be obvious like, no, pay close attention. Especially if you black, you know how we know to pay attention. We ain't crazy. We be like, The minute your own self say, you know you done clocked some teeth. Stay with it. They could even be close family or close friends. Stay focused. God told me Ezekiel 8 and 9. Go read it for yourselves, okay? I just do. And not concerned about the rest, honey. That's on you. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, that's between you and God. I did what I was asked to do. Symptoms today. Having experiences I can't explain, but it's beautiful. So I'm going to try to give a few explanations, but it's not much. So take what you will. And if you're having the same experiences, excuse me, confirmation burp, we working together somehow. Brain and body's apps. I mean, it's like, zip, 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 get, zip, zip. And then it's like, and then my brain feels like it's swimming and it's soupy. That's the best way I can explain it. But then when I woke up this morning, I almost fell getting off the bed. I laughed. Today I've been laughing a lot. The last 2 days I was doing a lot of crying, but the emotional release today is laughter. So I said, okay, I'm with it. And I saw a family of deer this morning. But let me tell you something, I'm in another country. And I said, that's weird. I've never seen deer in this country. So I cleaned my eyes and looked again. They weren't there. But then I did like this and looked, and they were there again. And I looked again. They were gone. I said, okay. That's type day we going to have? I said, okay. And it was gone. Then I sat still. So I said, okay, sit still. So I just grabbed my chest. I said, well, sit still. I said, just breathe in. I said, God, I'm awake and I'm here to listen and learn. What are you trying to show me today? So then I looked at my curtains, and my curtains started showing computer code like I was looking at the Matrix. And I said, wait a minute, what the heck? I ain't never seen this before. So I saw computer code on my curtains this morning, and it caught my attention. I said, something is shaking up. Don't know what it is, but everything is not what it seems. Stay focused on your energy. Whatever you do, no matter what is thrown at you, stay focused on your energy, because something is about to be shown. Okay? Everything ain't what you think it is. Talking a lot to God today and meditating and getting ideas. God was reminding me to speak out what I want. I can change anything by speaking into the air. He says, by your words you are justified, and by your words you are condemned. So God told me today, he said, speak. He said, because out of your mouth is life and death. What will you choose? So I started speaking life over myself. What I want, what I said, that's between me and God. What you gonna speak? Dreams so vivid, I could touch them. I gave myself a facial today. Ooh, it was nice. It was nice. I forgot about I had these facial. Ooh, I just got hot all of a sudden. Okay. This is the heat I felt when I saw the computer code. I'm just like, what just happened? And I just kept looking at it. It just kept going. It was just a whole bunch of numbers. And I said, I ain't never seen this before. I did. Oh, this is what I was talking about, that stretch. Okay. I watched a video. Okay. I was posting something on Facebook, and I just happened to see this woman do this stretch. I said, and I saw all these negative comments. Something that'll break my this. I said, well, I'm gonna try to do it, because if she doing it, I probably can do it, because we all human. I said, I'm gonna try it. Yeah, I went and tried this stretch. Ask me how long I laughed this morning. It took me 15 to 20 minutes to get in this stretch, because half the 15, 20 minutes I was hollering at myself and laughing because I couldn't believe it. It was so hard to get into the stretch when I got into it. But I laughed so hard, and my dog was looking at me like, what is going on with my mom? I was laughing so hard. To the point I had tears coming down my eyes. I was laughing so hard. So I did this stretch I seen, and I was struggling to get in it at first, and I laughed and laughed. Then I told myself, I said, look, what we're gonna do is we're gonna just relax. So then I said, wait a minute, we didn't stretch before we got into this stretch. Like, girl, you 52. So I got in the chair, started stretching my hamstrings, started stretching, I started stretching everything. Okay. I started my erectors and my legs, I started stretching everything. Started stretching my calves. So I said, we're gonna try it again. Then I tried to stretch my back, and I said, well, this is a stretch that pops the back. So let's go try it. So then I got on the bed and did it again, because I was trying to do it on the floor, but it was too painful. So I got up on the bed and did it. Child, I did it. That thing popped my back like 3 times. I said, oh, it felt so good. It popped both sides of my back while also stretching my sides. Such a good stretch. I talked myself through it, and woo, it was so good. I'm realizing that people really want to be entertained instead of focused on what truly matters. Look, I'm not here to judge nobody. I'm just stating what I see. Critical thinking always allows laughter, but not if it means giving up your own rights and feelings. What I'm trying to tell you is you get an opportunity to make your own life. Don't let somebody tell you how to live this life when you have a brain, you have a mouth, you have 2 eyes, you have 2 ears, you have 2 nostrils in your nose, you got a throat that you can speak your truth. Why would you let somebody tell you what you need to do instead of coming out of it? If you can complain, you can also devise a plan. That's all I'm saying. If you can complain, you can devise a plan for your life. But as long as you stay in that low level complaining, you won't find a plan, because you're too low. You gotta come on up. I don't know where that came from, but I'm gonna just go with it. Pay attention to your intuition. Nothing is as it seems no more. Okay, if I start speaking Ebonics instead of my proper English, know something's up. Read in between the lines. Realizing I have control over myself no matter what people are doing. I protect myself from harm on all levels, and my spirit team has my back. Understanding to control my own emotions. Whoever controls my emotions controls me. That's why there's so much stuff going on to get your attention and get you frustrated and angry and pissed off. Now you gave your energy away. It's okay. Call it back. When you get quiet, you begin to see all the players on the field. Ain't nothing like getting quiet and be like, mm, mm, mm. Cause see, once you know the players on one field, you know the players on all the fields. I ain't just pay attention. Who's playing what part? You become the player and the coach. God is the general manager and the head coach. Stay connected. God looks at the heart of people while man looks at what you can see. Oh, he looks nice, but man, that heart might be nasty and full of maggots. If you can support them, you can be all of this with a good heart. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You can support people and still have a good heart. People can still be in leadership and still have a good heart. That's why God chose David. And that's why David went through the dark night of the soul to become the king. And that's why Psalm 23 is about. It's about the dark night of the soul and how God will put you in a place, no matter where you're at, put you in a place to help you change your mind. That's why I say do not read the Bible straight up, straight down. The Bible is a book of magic. So to read it, you get the opportunity to look at it from a magi standpoint, a sage standpoint, a shaman standpoint. You get to change your mindset and look at it completely different. Once you and God start talking, it's going to be a problem. God made us the cornerstone that the masons threw away. Read between the lines. If you continue to stand when you're disrespected and treated less than, we're the foundation of God's plan. Luke 20. Go read that. Jesus was trying to tell us something if we would read between the lines. See, the Bible, you have to read between the lines. You can't read it straight up and straight down. But see, that's how they did it in the church. I'm not beating nobody up, okay? But if you being paid, you being paid, and that's how you hold people in hostage. And if you read between the lines like this, you see everything that was being said. Everyone gets the opportunity to do their own work and wake up in their own time. And the same thing with the Quran. If you read between the lines, you see everything. It's hard when you love folks, but in their own time. The same thing with every religious text. Read between the lines. They get the opportunity to decide, just like you did. I know you care for them, but what are they showing you with these eyes? Are you paying attention? Some want to connect only when they feel you growing. Let them go to learn their own lessons. Because they going to hold you down because they ain't learning them lessons. They lying to you, child. They will hold you down for moving forward. Just let go. It'll be okay. God has you and them. Trust that. Everyone must do their own work out their own salvation with fear and trembling. Okay. Don't carry someone else's battles. Philippians 2 and 12. Save yourself and keep going and then send your wisdom back as you go. Philippians 2:12. Read that for yourself. I'm only saying what's there. It says everybody gets to do their own part. And that came from Paul. And you know, Paul became a disciple, but Paul was taught on the backside of the mountain. See, Paul never got to see Jesus because Paul came after because Paul used to be Saul and he was out here hurting the Christians. And then he was on the road one day doing his thing, take him out, chew up, boom, boom. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Chew up, boom, boom. And God took him over to the Romans 1 and made him a reprobate mind and said, okay, well, this was going to happen to you. And he was like, wait a minute, let's talk about it. And then all of a sudden, now, Paul is on God's side. Because, see, God will give you the ability to change if you want to. Even if your covenant was to not change, if you change your mind, God said, let's go. God don't care if your covenant was not to change. But you decide you want to change because you like the light side. God'll let you. If he did it with Paul, he'll do it with anybody. I'm just saying. But it's your choice. Can't nobody make the choice for you. James 1:19 through 21 NLT. Don't allow anyone to take your power or your energy. Understand this, my dear brothers and sisters. You must all be quick to listen and slow to speak and slow to get angry. Human anger doesn't produce the righteousness God desires. So get rid of all negative thinking and humbly accept the word of God that God has placed in your heart. I don't know what he placed in that. That's beyond me because I wasn't there with you when you and him cut that covenant. For it has the power to save your souls. Okay. It will save your soul. Listen to what God told you. Because it'll give you straight intuition to say, this ain't the spot. Just like the Quran 1753 and 4148 highlight the importance of speaking kindly, avoiding slander and gossip, and speaking the truth. But are we listening to that? Just like 2:254, this verse emphasizes that it's not for creation that is under Allah to make decisions saying it ain't no better than Allah. It requires a believer to submit and surrender to Allah, which is a message of faith and surrender of divine authority. But we do that as well with God. We surrender to God because we like God knows better, even though we don't know the plan. God knows better because He can see what we can't see. Okay, but do we know who we really are? Because we wouldn't be fighting each other, right? Because we all saying the same thing. It's time to get into our studies, whatever we're in, pray, meditate, and find out who we are. Because once we find out who we are, we realize, wait a minute, they saying the same thing I'm saying. Be so secure when things come to steal your joy, you bounce back quicker each time. I promise you, they saying the same thing we saying. Just a few things they say, I was like, wait a minute, I don't like that. But you know what? Even though it wasn't in the Bible, they say this in the church too. So I said, hold up now. Wait a minute. What you trying to do? You trying to keep a woman from having words? I said, that's what that's about. You trying to keep the divine feminine on the state of affairs, because if we ever bring the divine feminine in here, that's intuition. That's wisdom. That's stepping into your Godhead. Okay, that's different. Okay. I'm still saying, why? Because it's my birthright and my blood bought right. My birthright to be worthy. Why? Because I was born of a womb of a woman. Only thing you got to do is be born of a womb of a woman and be worthy. That's it. You don't have to put in no work for it. God said you worthy because I said you worthy. I'm worthy of love. Birthright. Can't take it from me because it belongs to me. And once I find it, it's mine. It's mine. I'm worthy of a life I love. You know why I'm worthy of a life I love? Because I'm worthy of a life I love. That's my birthright. I'm worthy of a rounded, wealthy life. I am worthy of it. When I cut off that news, when I cut off that negative dancing, when I cut off that negative Nathaniel, when I look and see that I have infinite wealth on the inside of me, I can just pull it on out with my intuition and wisdom. I'm worthy of the dream that is in my heart. If it's in my heart, you best believe I'm going to get it. You know why I'm going to get it? Because I ain't got no reason to stop. Because me and God, we've been talking. I'm like, well, we finna get this. And I release the timelines that are no longer for me. Let's break this down. Amos said, two can only walk together if we agree. I don't agree with nothing that you're doing. So guess what? We can't walk together no more. So guess what? I'm sending you cleansing and purifying energy as you go your own way. I'm going to go my way. I'm not mad. I'm not angry. I'm not bitter. I'm not frustrated with you. I'm not irritated with you. You know what? I'm just done. Because little did I know you was doing little shiesty mess behind my back. When I found out about it, you good. I found out who the Judas was. And once I find out who the Judas was, I'm going to go ahead and remove you. There going to be many more Judases in my life because they helped me get me where I need to be. But now I'm going to just let you go on be about your own business. I love you, though. See, the church say, keep your Judas around. Once you see who they are and you remove them, that's how you level up. If you keep them around, you might be missing. I'm just saying. Don't keep them around. Get rid of them so you can level up. I release the timelines that require me to shrink. If I have to shrink from being who I am, so you can be all of you, child, I guess you're going to have to suck a toe because I'm not going to do it. I'm not rushing or placing pressure on myself. I'm just open for clear communication and wisdom on my next move in stillness. There's something happens when you get still. When you get still, man, you hear God so clearly. It is just like God is like right here because He really is in another realm. Let's break it out. They are parallel worlds right here. And once you get closer to God, let me tell you something. Once you start talking to God like God is your friend and start sharing, ooh, that is so beautiful. Something just happened to my crown and it's just sitting so beautiful. Instead of feeling like I'm getting squeezed, it just sat down like a crown on my head. It just sat down. And it's just so beautiful right now. Ooh, that's love. Thank you, God. The closer you get to God, it is so beautiful. Things start happening. Yes, it starts being like Stranger Things and X-Files. But guess what? You get to know God so well. It'll shake you at first because you're like, what's that? And you be like, wait a minute, I'm okay. I walk forward lighter, clearer, and deeply supported. I'm never alone. I have my ancestors, angels, and God. That is a threefold cord that's not easily broken. I'm secure in knowing, even if I'm walking by myself, I'm truly never alone because my ancestors, they be in the, I wish them would. Okay. They come out the bushes like the guerrilla warfare. And when they come out, I ain't got nothing to do with it because some of them in the underworld and I don't have no control over that. The angels always bring me something amazing that causes my heart to light up. It never fails. The minute I saw that deer this morning, I said, wait a minute, I ain't never seen no deer here. And I've been all through the jungle walking around, having trails and everything. I ain't never seen one. But I'm pretty sure there's some out here. I'm aware enough to pause, breathe, sit still for the next move, or just know that I am loved in every way that love can show itself. Okay. There's 101 million ways that love can show itself. People go out of their way to do me good because of the favor of God on my life. Rules, laws, regulations, and any red tape is removed from me. It is said we don't even usually do this. They just can't even help it. Guess what? I can't either. But if God, my intuition said, and my ancestors said, I wish you would. Child, I'm out. My hands is up, and I'm leaving you where you stand because I got to walk on. Walk on. Keep on. You can just see, finish what come on. I have miracles every day, and uncommon blessings find me without me even searching for them. They just fall upon me because I'm aligned. Once you start getting aligned with God, and you start doing little stuff every day, let me tell you something. Something changes in your life. I don't consent to any energy control. I am grounded, safe, and fully in control of myself. Untouchable and fully sovereign in myself. All cords are removed from me. Let me tell you something. Two can only walk if they agree. Cut, cut, snip, snip, burn, burn. And I sever every connection because we can't walk together no more. I'm worthy of my dreams and everything my heart desires. Because if it's a dream and it's a heart desire, you best believe it's coming to pass. Because that's the covenant, honey. And when you break covenant with God, it is what it is. I allow clear thinking to find me without fighting for it. If it's mine, I don't have to fight for it. I don't have to compete with you. Keep doing what you're doing because you just letting me know that you paying attention even though you say you're not. Because guess what? They say the flat, when somebody uses your stuff and don't give you, and don't say it's yours, but they use it and act like it's theirs. They say that's flattery, but it really shows me that you've been watching the whole time. Thank you. I'm worthy. Keep watching. You might learn something big. Okay. I'm worthy of seeing all my dreams come true while seeing the light in darkness at any moment. And I ain't trying to be flashy. I'm just saying, if I can get up here and see things from another perspective, I can change my mindset in 60 seconds. Probably less than that. All things come to me in perfect, mature timing for my highest outcome and for the good of all. Why? I saw that somewhere. If I win, you win. If you win, I win because we gonna share. Because we know if we share the wisdom that we have, God will share down some more. Money comes back because when you hoard the wisdom, God don't give you no more. You just sitting there looking crazy. But if you share the wisdom, God said, okay, you emptied yourself, let me pour some more on you. Money comes back to me multiplied on every dollar that was spent. Double, triple, quadruple, 100-fold on everything that was spent, taken, and stolen. Everything that my ancestors didn't get. And things that I don't even know that's gone. I'm willing to open space for things I truly want by being gentle with myself. I'm intentional with love for myself. Ooh, today when I gave myself that facial, and earlier this week I gave myself that foot detox. Oh, it might be one time for the winter. Okay, I saw this on Google and I said, okay, Google, I'm going to take this and I'm going to add my own hot sauce and seasoning. Spirit, if it's in my highest good, I remove all energy that doesn't belong to me from my energy field and I send it back to the rightful owner, cleanse and purify, no matter where we originally met. Universe, world, timeline, dimension, realm. Even if we was a speck of space, dust, or rock, I sever the cord of connection. The lessons have been learned, and I release you to find your own way. I call all my energy fragments back to me now. I'm like Magneto. I am free. I am free. I am free. I don't care what time I was in this world. Okay. I now release all energies, traumas, and patterns, and anything that was left behind of my ancestors that isn't in alignment, that aren't in alignment with my highest good across all timelines and dimensions, and everything they left that they didn't get, that's mine too. I am free. I am free. I am free. I want the gifts. I want it all. I want the gift. I want it all. What? I work for it. I want it all. I sit in peace when I trust the process and I don't rush the process. Can we wait when it gets silent? Because that means the proctor is in the room. And when the proctor is in the room, that means a test is going on. And if a test is going on, ouch. That means ain't no talking. I'm doing speaking engagements and podcasts that bring transformation. Signature topic, helping visionaries reconnect, reinvent, and learn how to rebirth and rise with confidence. We're all visionaries with our own personal dreams. It's just we forgot them surviving life and doing what others told us to do. Pull your dream out of the back seat, put it in the passenger seat, and start talking to it and bring it back to life. Teaching individuals how to return to themselves, quiet the noise on the inside and the outside, because you can't do anything about the noise on the outside. Yeah. Confirmation bird. But the stuff that's going on the inside, oh, you can quiet that down. And live boldly on your own terms. Philippians 4 tells you that. Guiding through mindset shifts, emotional release, soul level understanding, helping all of us navigate reinvention, rebirth, set boundaries, and rise into our original purpose with confidence. Because confidence is the missing substance to faith. Hi, my name is Renetta Chesson, the owner and founder of Life Success Results, LLC. Soul Igniter, Trauma Overcomer, Holistic Spiritual Strategist. I work with the whole being for my level of training and education, mind, spirit, soul, and body. I have a bachelor's and master's degree in healthcare to understand and comprehend mental and public health. Okay, because mental and public health goes together whether you realize it or not. Massage therapy, Reiki and sound healing, holistic practitioner, pull out all the impurities from the rooter to the tutor, human design practitioner, when we go back and look at the original purpose of you, and then we come back and look at that generational baggage and start pulling it out. When I was given this task of having uncomfortable conversations with others, I knew then my path was going to be different. I knew people would also be a little standoffish until they done their own particular work. But that didn't stop me. I ask myself uncomfortable questions every day to get out of my own patterns. I do the work every day. It's not always pretty and it's not always easy, but I wake up to confront areas in me, in love, that need a facelift to go forward. Honey, if you could see some of these questions I ask myself. What are you afraid of losing? Is it that once you see colonialism played, everybody on the chessboard, that you won't know what to do if you're not fighting each other anymore? Because that's what they do. They pin everybody against each other. How about we find ways to have conversations that cause us to pause, to see life differently? This will cause us to quit blaming someone else for our problems and see where we might have truly missed it somewhere. We can only meet people where we have met ourselves. Remember that next time when you say, I want a real relationship. Have you met yourself, or you want somebody to come in and you continue to be the baby and somebody force feed you food or bottle feed you? Ain't nobody got time to be bottle feeding no grown woman, no grown man. We get the opportunity to work it out on our own. Okay. We have many adults who were never taught how to feel safe. Not beating you up, just stating the facts. So many that they seek safety and validation on the outside of themselves because of a plethora of challenges that occurred in childhood. Do you like me? Do you like me? I like me. You know that Kurt Franklin song? Do you like me? Cause I like me. Do you like me? Cause I like me. Do you like me? Do you like? Hey, I love that song. I'm being commissioned to aid in the process by sharing how I overcame everything meant to keep me from coming into my true identity. I had to believe in myself and God. See, God is on the inside of me, in my heart. See, God is in me, but I had to find me first. What does that mean? When people say, what you mean finding yourself? That means I had to ask myself true questions. Because even though God is in my heart, that means I have to ask myself, do you love yourself? Do you care about yourself? If you care about yourself, we need to work on some stuff. And I had to be truthful and honest with myself in love, but I had to be honest with myself. If you can't be honest with yourself, who else you gonna be honest with? We're taught that God is on the outside of us and the by and by. God is not. He's on the inside of us. But if God is on the inside of us, but God is on the inside of us, waiting to be teared into our battles. Ephesians 6. We're fighting principalities, rulers of darkness, and spiritual wickedness in high places. We're not fighting people. We fighting spirits. Remember, all of us are spirits first. This is when the negative thinking that has gone on for so long in the society is the norm. Multitude in the Bible means societal norms. It means you making the word of no effect. This is what they do every Sunday morning. They bring in They multitude of thinking that they had with them all week, and when they bring it to you, they try to turn everything about the sermon to them. And I'm like, that's not what the sermon is about. God put you there to share the wisdom, but you using it to my don't do this and don't do that. No, that's your issue. Don't tell me your issue. I got my own stuff. I don't need to know nothing about your issue. Just give me the word. That's it. This is what every ascendant master had to fight against, the Pharisees and the Sadducees. The mindsets of us who complain but don't want to do the work. Okay. Don't want to go in and you don't want nobody else to go in. Or you don't want to do the work, so you're going to be a stumbling block to everybody else. Okay. Don't know how to, and it causes a dip in morale. Most can't get out because it's ancestral or generational. So to get out, it requires one to get uncomfortable. People don't like uncomfortability. To get past, if you don't like uncomfortability, ask the oyster how it feels to make that pearl that we like so much. It's very uncomfortable. Uncomfortable to get past the plateau of complacency. And this is how we've always done it. It's time to come up with new ways, new innovations, new inventions, new way to see things. That old way is not working anymore. There are some freebies and a link for my podcast with Women's Leveling Up recently. A few months ago, in the month of May, you will also see 3 other magazines I was in: September, October, and December. Look in the description below to see the things that truly light you up and leave everything else behind. I cannot wait to talk to you soon. Remember, I placed a link to my own personal bookstore. My books incorporate the essence of God. If you want to feel the presence of God, read In the Garden with the Father, Understanding True Intimacy. No matter what your background, because God don't care. God ain't never cared. It's humans that care. God said, come on over here. If this ain't right here a spiritual echo, didn't I just say if you pour out, God will put back in? This page 72. You pour out and I'll pour in. Hush your fuss, God. I went straight to the page. I didn't do this on purpose. Trust me, I haven't forgotten you. You're at the forefront of my mind. God said we the apple of his eye. Yeah. Okay. Don't forget about my other 2 books, Befriending the Shadow and Unshakable Peace, Unstoppable Change. Both of those books are my shadow activity books. You get lots of things. So it's not a shadow workbook because there's so much to do. Okay, it's an activity book for grown folks. You get a word of knowledge. Then you get an exercise, okay, that you work through. Then you get a shadow question. Not so nice. It's going to be a little painful, a little bit, Mike. Okay. And then if you get tired of the shadow question, you get to go over to the coloring page. The coloring page is amazing. All right. It's and God asked me to keep it between the age of 5 and 10. Why? Because between the 5 and 10 is when most childhood wounding has happened. All right. That's when most childhood wounding has happened. And then God said, when they look at it, and when by the age of 7, it is solidified. By the age of 10, if there ain't nobody help, it's in you. Between the ages of 21 and 25, that is your stuff now. You cannot blame anyone else. It's yours. And then you get 4 pages. It's 22 pages per book. You get 4 pages of doodling, drawing, sketching, write down your dreams, write down your visions, doing whatever you want. That is your fun space. Do whatever you want to do there. Okay, that is your fun space. And in front of the book it says, and this book belongs to. I thought it was so cute. God said keep it just like that. And don't forget about my other 2 books. Influence and Impact is already New York Times bestseller list on Amazon with Chris Voss. Also, my other book, Mindset Matters with Jack Canfield, also 100%. Also, a New York Times bestseller list. Honey, God is good and his mercy will endures forever. Again, God does not care about your background. God don't care. He said, go on, man. Notebooks and journal for all, coloring books for all that help in meditating and calibrating the mind. Ain't nothing like getting a coloring book and color. Pulling out your crayon. Ain't nothing like it, child. I'm excited about this venture. Why? Because I'm in charge of my own intellectual property, even though I have a lot of stuff on Amazon. Go check it out. Don't forget about the a link for the 105 spiritual laws, but we're now disclaimer under love and grace. Don't forget about that. Okay. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter for the juicy updates and the upcoming events. And the Adjective PDF and the 400 Values PDF to get in there and change your whole character to this Jacob promoter game. Don't forget that I was inducted into the new class of Who's Who in of 2025 and Influential Women of 2025. Don't also forget that I was inducted in 2017 and completely forgot about it. It's a whole new experience for 2025. I was doing work with my nonprofit, bringing women and teenage girls out of sex trafficking. Also helping teenage girls that came out of their parents said they were LGBTQAI, and young girls that came out and said they were pregnant. Their parents picked them out of the house, so I put them in homes, and I made sure they had what they needed before they went into the homes. And then people, domestic violence, and then people whose houses was burnt down or had floods and they lost everything. But I had a storage unit, so I was helping people get back on their feet, beds, flat screen, TVs, and then I was giving them $20 gift cards to go ahead and buy like underwear and stuff, and I gave them like toiletry bags with toothpaste and fingernail polish and polish removal. Why? Because just because you lost everything doesn't mean that you don't want to feel like a human being on this earth. You know what I'm saying? And I was just doing the little simple things because the Red Cross and the churches and the pantries was helping them out, but I was just doing the simple stuff that I could do. Okay. And nobody saw it. And I'm just glad that God said, whatever you do in private, I reward you in public. I'm just grateful for that. And there was no fanfare. I just put some pictures up on my website for Refuge Women's Transition Center, but I didn't put a lot up there because I didn't put none of those women up there because we can't. That's against the rules. Don't forget to look at to receive 25% off your first order. This is the company I use with all natural remedies for my assistance for the diagnosis in 2017 of breast cancer. They told me I had 6 months to live. I said the devil is a lie. I went to my backyard and started listening to my ancestors. And yes, I sure did. I said I bind every disease, every germ, every bacteria, every growth, every tumor, every parasite that's trying to die on my body, and I curse it to the root right now. I curse it to the root, and I send it back to the pit of hell from whence it came, and I loose the blood of Jesus, and I loose the hand of God. Sure did. And then I said, what else did I say? And then I said, and I take full responsibility because I put this on myself. I bought this on myself. It was hand to mouth, hand to mouth. I take full responsibility. But when you take responsibility, God will help you. Okay. So then I went home, called a naturopathic doctor like God said. Then my ancestors said, go get that dandelion, and then you go get that morning glory. Go get that I call it crabgrass. It's like it's wild scallions. It's wild scallions. Our ancestors grew up on that. Okay. That's how they survived when they didn't have nothing. And then I got that poke salad. It's like poke salad that looked like lettuce and cilantro had a baby together, and it's serrated around the edges, and it tastes like it tastes like mint and kind of got a nutty flavor. It's different. You got to taste it yourself. Oh, my skin is so pretty. And then I just noticed that. And then I put that on top of my spinach, underneath my jasmine rice, zucchini, squash, red onions, red bell peppers, orange and yellow honey. And then every once in a while I added some shrimp, some tuna steak, or or wild salmon. Why? Because that's what my body needs. That's why I asked you to get you a naturopathic doctor so they can do that test on you, put your hand on that thing, and tell you your blood type, tell you what your body needs, tell you everything about your body. So you know what's going on with your body, so you can start eating towards your body. And if you get you a naturopathic doctor, they can help you out and making sure that you're not eating things, even though it is alkaline, making sure it's right for you. Okay. Just because this goes for everybody that's black, this goes for everybody that's this, it may not go for you. This just say that you are A negative, but this said this is the food for A positive. You may not be able to eat that because you are H negative. Okay? I'm just saying, pay attention to what you need. Everybody, we can agree on a lot, but everybody won't be able to go on the same path with some things, okay? So check in with your body. What is your body saying? But don't mess around and try to be like everybody else and you be in a casket because you try to be like everybody else. Let's not do that. Especially on that fruit diet. A lot of people don't left here on that. So I'm just saying, I ain't trying to judge nobody. I'm just saying, think about that. And I just want to say thank you, God, for loving on me and keeping me. I thank you for saving me and for myself. I didn't know that I was going through all of these things. And honey, sometimes you don't know until you know. And then God will put a certain person in front of you to tell you what you need to hear. Because God had told you, you said, really? And then somebody else has said, you be like, oh my God. And then it really hits. And because God is not a respecter of person. What he do for one person, he'll do for another. It's just, are you willing to do the word? Are you willing to do the word? That's all God wants to know. Because God will work with anybody. God don't care about your religion. He don't care about the color of your skin. He don't care about none of that. He don't care. Only thing God cares, are you willing and able to do what I asked you to do when I asked you to do it? That's it. That's it. That's all God wants. Nothing else. Honey, I'm glad that God didn't give me over to a reprobate mind. That is Romans 1. That is when you said, well, I got this. I know what I'm doing. Then he put you over there by yourself, and you over there like Nebuchadnezzar, hair grown long, your nails grown long. You over there looking like a bison. And you a human, but you looking like an animal over there on all fours. Ain't nobody got time for that. Honey, and I just want to thank you, God, that we're told that we are disenfranchised and we're the minority. We're not. We are your chosen people, God. And they told us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, and we did. And then they came and took the boots. They came and took the shoestrings. And then we went over there and got us some bamboo, and we made some new shoes and got some vines and made shoestrings and figured it out. And they was like, what you doing? Honey, we over here playing Spades, Stump, and Uno with the worst cards, but God is telling us what to do. And we are winning this game regardless, okay? And I just want to say thank you for being here, because you could have been anywhere, but I just want to say thank you. And I send nothing but cleansing and purifying energy to you. And I love you in the love of the Lord. Have a great evening. Good night.